Welcome into the Bassmaster Studios, and we're talking with our Elite Series pros during this break, getting to see what they're doing, where they're fishing, what honey-do list items they're checking off, and we're going to go over to the great state of Alabama, not far from the Bassmaster headquarters, and we're going to talk to a guy that we call Mega, and that is Clent Davis. Clent Davis, welcome into the Skype show. How are you today?
I'm good. Today's my daddy daycare day, and since we're doing this, I got her out of the house for about 30 minutes. But yeah, you know, everything for, I guess, the situation we're in, everything's going great.
Yeah, you guys, we've had some crazy weather in Arkansas over the last 2 weeks or so, and I know that Alabama's had tornadoes and rain and hail and all kinds of different stuff. I've got to see that on your social media and whatnot over the last week or two. So have you gotten out and gone fishing? And if so, what's it been like, and where have you been fishing?
Yeah, Lake, Mitchell, Jordan. Done a lot of crappie fishing. Yesterday, I actually fished my first bass tournament since the Classic. I didn't win. I did beat Scott Canterbury, though, so that's a bonus. But yeah, it felt good to get out and catch a few bass, and probably going to fish a few leading up to hopefully our next event on the Sabine.
Yeah, that's what everybody's hoping for, is that end of the May, early June time period that we can maybe resume it. It seems like the curve of the state of the country is getting better over the last week or so compared to what it was maybe 2 weeks ago. But for you, Clint, how are you taking this break? You obviously got off to a start at the St. Johns River, and then you had your Bassmaster Classic there where you were doing great. You were doing great after day one of the event, and you were right there in the top three. How do you kind of handle this break and then jumping back into competition without getting rusty?
Yeah, like I said, I fished my first tournament yesterday, and I've got charity tournaments and stuff lined up for the next few weeks, all the way up till May the 28th. I plan to fish, at least one local tournament a week somewhere on the Coosa. So that's all I can do is stay on the water.
So the Coosa River is what you call home, all those lakes up the chain, but for sure Lake, that's not far from the University of Montevallo where you went to school and started the college fishing program there. I'm going to ask you, did you think back in the day when you started a simple college fishing team, you were one of probably the first teams to start up in the country, that it would turn into Bassmaster Elite Series Pro, Clent Davis, Forrest Wood Cup champ, Clent Davis? Did you think that it would become something like that? That's always a goal probably.
I mean, I wanted to fish for a living my whole life, but I never thought that would lead into that. And of course, I've told this a million times, but I have Justin Lucas to thank more for that than anything, because we actually met through college fishing, and he moved out here, moved in with me, and taught me into fishing one as a co-angler, and it was all from there. Did well fishing co-angler and made enough money to fish some coasters and some opens, and that's been, I guess, 10. I think this is my 10th year now. So yeah, 10 years ago. So it's pretty crazy. You're getting pretty old. It's making me think I'm pretty old, because 2010 I was about to graduate high school and go into college fishing. So now I'm feeling like that's old. 10-year reunions coming up. But for you, Clint, you've had some really good ups in the sport of bass fishing and some tougher downs. Everybody's going to have that in the sport. For you, I want to talk about the end of the 2017 season. It's probably something people have asked you. It's something you've probably thought about. That was the time where some cuts were made on the Elite Series for the new people coming in from the Opens, and you were one of the guys that got cut from the Elites. And you almost hung it up right there. Walk me through what happened the next month or two after getting cut from the Elites the first time to kind of not save your career, but what kept you in it, and what was 2018 like for you? Yeah, it was a whole burnout deal. I remember telling, Drew and Brock that year before the season started, like, guys, I'm not even enjoying this fishing deal anymore. I guess I'd taken all the fun out of it, and it shows when you're not having fun, you're probably not going to have success at this level. You got to have a certain fire to be able to compete at this level. And I didn't have it in me, and I was constantly looking toward the end of the year, as in, what was I going to do from then on out? Mainly, I was through professional fishing. As crazy as that sounds, I'd taken something that I loved and done it my whole life, and never took a break, and just it got to burnout. But that year, worst season fishing I've ever had. I did get kicked out, and I was done. I was probably about to go to Alabama Power is what it was looking like. And Bill Taylor, of course, is a retired now FLW tournament director. He stayed on me, and I don't know, 3 or 4 months in, he called me one more time and he said, you either got to sign up or not and be done. And I don't know, my wife she pushed me as well. And I actually had not fished for probably the first time in my whole life. I don't know if I'd ever been a week without fishing. I'd literally been 3 months, 4 months without picking up a fishing pole. And I was wanting to go again. So, it's one of those deals where maybe I just need to take a break and not just walk away from it.
Well, for you, for anybody, for me, I get to go out once in a while and go fishing. Those little green fish will make you feel this small. And then the next day, those little green fish will make you feel like the best man in the world. And that's what it seemed like in 2018 for you, coming off what you said was your worst time, 3 or 4 months of no fishing after a terrible year. You decide to go do that, though. You fish the 2018 FLW Tour schedule, and then you make the Forrest Wood Cup. It's something that everybody aspires to do, win or do well enough to make your championship event. And you barely snuck in the final day. You're in 10th place going into the thing, and what happened there on that final day was something you'll never forget.
Yeah, man, dream come true. I remember sitting with my travel partner then, Cody Meyer, the night before, talking like, man, I lost the Forrest Wood Cup today. That was going into the final day because I thought I'd put myself in a hole where I couldn't make it up. So went out last day I was going to fish for 2018, last event of the year, and it was time to set the rods down for a few months and just went out and had fun. And there you go, Forrest Wood Cup champ, and my wife a good payday.
You're back on the Elites now. 2019 was a great season for you. You made the Classic. What was that like? Your home state, you were one of the guys that we got to interview, after the weigh-in, and you said there's 3 Alabama guys in the field. For one of us to be able to have a shot to win this event would mean the world. And after day one, you were right there in the top 3, tied for 2nd place. How did it work out day one, and why didn't that translate? But what did it mean to you just to be in that opportunity, to have a shot like that?
Yeah, I mean, I worked my whole life to fish the Classic, and I guess it's been a long road getting there, and it's a pretty crazy road how I finally got there. And then, it's in Birmingham, friends, family, everyone in the state that I know, got to come watch the weigh-in. It was just an awesome deal, great day one, and, sometimes in fishing it doesn't work out, and it didn't for me in that tournament. Still a decent showing, and just, I did a video a while back right after that, and it's just going to make me work harder whenever we get back to fishing to get to that 2021 Classic.
So people always want to know what it's like for that long drive, an hour-plus drive from the lake to the Classic weigh-in. And I don't even know what that feeling's like. I can imagine it, and I see the emotions out on the water, and we try to make it up in our mind what it would be like. So from day one, what was it like driving back to the weigh-in from Guntersville with 21 and a half pounds in your live well? And then adversely, what was it like day 2 driving back with just 4 fish in your live well? That's got to be a tale of 2 different emotions that you're just thinking about the whole time.
Yeah, this probably sounds crazy, but I slept both days. I had my buddy Jonathan Collins drive me from the lake. Definitely a high and a low. But it's once you put it on the trailer at the end of the day, it is what it is. You did all you could do and not worry about it. I knew I had one more day of fishing and try to make up for day 2.
So the rest of the Elite Series schedule is laid out basically right in front of us. We still have all the events left except for the St. Johns River, and some of them will play out a little different than we thought. Those Chickamaugas, Eufaolas, Santee Coopers, those events for sure will be in a different time slot than expected coming into the year. The others yet to be seen where those will fall. But what are you looking forward to most? Which tournament do you have circled on your schedule that no matter where it is that you're just going to enjoy fishing, whether it's big fish or having an opportunity to do well?
Probably Lake Fork, man. We went out there last year, and I've watched videos from years past and all the, offshore fishing, which is what I live for. And hopefully if we get to have it when we're supposed to have it this year, they're all going to be swimming around out in the middle of the pond, and I'm looking forward to that. It'll be like going to a brand new lake compared to last year, and there's nothing more fun to me than just cutting on the Lawrences and islanding around till I find them. That's just, to me, that's what I live for in bass fishing, is catching them offshore. So definitely Lake Fork.
What would you suggest? It's probably shad spawn going on right now, maybe a tail end, maybe that window smaller. What are 3 baits that Clent Davis is going to have on his front deck of his boat for that late April, early May time period in the state of Alabama?
I've got a nickel swim jig on with a little Mr. Twister buzz bug trailer. That's, as far as the Coosa, that's about the only thing I throw. Between that, Yozuri pencil for spots on seawalls here. And then the third bait usually is just a stick worm, wacky rig Mr. Twister Cometa that I skip around docks or lay downs for the ones that don't want to bite.
So I have a quick question for you. We're going to do a this or that. I don't know if you saw it on the Bassmaster social media the other day, but there was a list of things and 2 different sides of the spectrum. You could pick one or the other, and I want to just see what Mr. Clent Davis has on tap here. So would you rather catch a 10-pounder or a 30-pound limit?
30-pound limit.
Would you rather catch them on a spinnerbait or a vibrating jig?
Vibrating jig.
Texas rig or jig?
Jig.
Shallow fishing or deep fishing?
Deep fishing.
And I don't know how this one's going to go, but clear water or dirty water?
I like clear water.
So there he is, a clear water vibrating jig, 30-pound limit wanting to catch full over here, Clent Davis. That was a little bit of this or that. We got to know a little bit about your style, because the Coosa's not super clear, but it does get dirty, but it's got grass, it's got deep, shallow. So I was interested to see where you chose on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you put all that together and it doesn't even sound right, but you asking those one question at a time is exactly how I'd like it.
Well, Clent Davis, we obviously saw you do well. Top 10 at Lake Lanier last year. Deep, clear water fishing, and maybe, just maybe, with the way the tournaments line up, you'll catch you a 30-pound limit at some point this year on the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Hopefully Lake Fork.
Lake Fork coming up. That was Clent Davis. Thank you for joining me, man. I appreciate you taking the time, and we get to see what you're doing. Probably all the honeydew checklists, the daddy daycares, all those things that our Elite Series anglers aren't used to doing in the month of April. They're now experiencing in 2020.
Thanks for having me, Ronnie.
We'll see you later. That was Clent Davis, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro, coming off a great classic and a great 2019 campaign. We're looking forward to getting the rest of the year started off. And check into Bassmaster.com for updates and more angler interviews.